On October 3rd, at exactly 4 a.m. Universal Time, something amazing happened above Mars. A quiet pass by an object from another star system turned into something unexpected for everyone, including NASA, ESA, and experienced astronomers. The object, called 3 Atlas, was traveling through our solar system from far away and passed Mars at a distance of 29 million km. Every camera, spacecraft, and sensor we had on Mars focused on it. What then occurred changed our understanding of comets, space, and whether we are the only life in the universe. For the first time ever, Mars didn't just observe, it reacted. It started calmly. The comet looked like a faint green light with a thin, shimmering halo of gas behind it. For a short time, the information from the spacecraft orbiting Mars seemed normal. Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, Mars Express, MAVEN, and the Trace Gas Orbiter all showed the same data. Something changed drastically within the comet's core. Instruments picked up unusual gas releases, not the typical water vapor, but sudden bursts of cyanogen and carbon dioxide. These elements should have stayed frozen in space's coldness. The comet's surface heated up quickly. Its hazy atmosphere grew fast, and its energy release was more than expected. Scientists rushed to adjust their equipment as the data became more and more bizarre. It wasn't acting like an icy rock. It was acting like it was aware of being observed. Then, in the midst of everything, auroras showed up for the first time. Mars hardly ever has auroras due to its thin air and broken magnetic field. But that night, special sensors saw light waves spreading across its whole dark side. Bands of purple, green, and red mixed and moved electrically. The light wasn't from solar wind, as there were no solar flares reported. The only possible cause was the comet itself. For hours, Mars's upper air glowed in time with the comet's location. To people watching, it seemed like a cosmic dance, a heavenly connection between two planets. At the same time, Curiosity's radiation tool found strange, tiny bursts of energy. Even the sleeping InSight quake detector, covered in dust, felt a shaking, like an electrical buzz moving through the Martian dirt. The facts were clear. Mars was reacting to something. No one knew if it was the comet or something inside Mars itself. But for the first time, Mars was making noise. It was like it was singing. Right after the bright lights in the sky were at their strongest, something else started. Pieces began to break off of the comet's bright center. Spacecraft above Mars saw shiny bits spinning out like metal snowflakes floating in space. But instead of spreading out randomly, the pieces curved in neat paths, moving as if pulled by unseen strings. Scientists called it spiral shedding, but the movement was too perfect to be natural. Each piece seemed to turn together, as if following a single order. Some people even thought the pieces were changing their position, lining up with Mars's magnetic fields before floating away. Then, the Trace Gas Orbiter found a sudden, strange increase in methane, a gas that scientists have been confused about on Mars for a long time. The timing was perfect. The comet had just gone by. The question now was not whether 3 Atlas had an effect on Mars, but what that effect was. Did the comet plant strange new materials on the planet, or did it stir up something old, hidden under the surface, that was waiting for a signal to reappear? Just then, a soft, constant, and unbelievable sound began, a low, repeating hum that pulsed every 22 seconds. NASA engineers first thought it was just noise, but when the European Space Agency's Mars Express picked up the exact same pattern from a different location, doubt disappeared. 2 spacecraft, 2 instruments, same timing. The hum went on for almost an hour, vibrating at a very low frequency. Someone who wasn't trained wouldn't have heard anything but static. But for the experts, it was something strange that couldn't be explained by chance. Officially, space agencies said it was plasma resonance, a normal interaction between Mars's surface and the comet's charged tail. But secretly, rumors spread in the control rooms. Some thought it was an echo, a reaction to the electromagnetic signals we had sent out to watch the comet. Others thought it was a signal. Whatever it wasn't random. The hum stopped as suddenly as it started, and Mars became strangely quiet again. But one thing was clear: something went between the planet and the thing. It was real, able to be measured, and maybe on purpose. When morning finally came on Mars, the planet was changed. The soft green glow that lit up the dark side of Mars was gone, but the tools left on the ground told a different story. The Perseverance rover found strange chemicals in the thin air. There were signs of materials that shouldn't be there unless made in a lab. The carbon bits were mixed up, particles lined up in magnetic ways that didn't fit the land around them. And the normal radiation dropped for no reason, like something soaked it up during the night. The burst of methane found before was gone, but what was there instead was weirder. There was a steady pattern of tiny electrical sparks coming from the ground, making invisible webs across the flatlands of Mars. To the people watching the mission, it looked like wires, natural shapes reacting to energy. They called it leftover plasma effects, but some wondered if something was being turned on. Something had been woken up on Mars. It was small, hard to notice, but on purpose. The planet seemed to be recalling something, and whatever 3i Atlas had done, it had made Mars buzz with life in a way it hadn't for billions of years. The Space Telescope could finally see the space object clearly as it moved away from Mars. When its heat detectors focused on the object, the information received convinced even those who doubted it. The comet wasn't getting colder as predicted. It was getting warmer. Its inside parts, thought to be frozen for a very long time, were giving off heat in bursts, like something inside was making it happen. The chemical readings were even stranger. Substances made of 2 carbon atoms and cyanogen were arranged in perfect patterns, repeating at regular times like a secret code. The scientists in charge argued for hours. No natural thing could make such perfect patterns. Then came another surprise. A weak radio signal was picked up, not from the comet's tail, but from empty space around it. It was like light was hitting something invisible that shouldn't be there. The telescope's picture team improved the data and found a design. 3 circles of charged particles spinning slowly, perfectly lined up with the comet's path. The next question everyone asked was simple. Who or what was controlling it? While the telescope kept watching, telescopes on Earth started reporting something amazing. Instead of being random, the brightness changed with a beat. Long exposure photos from Chile and South Africa showed that the brightness pulsed exactly with the 22-second signal that Mars orbiters had recorded days earlier. It seemed like the object was replying with a message, but not to Mars this time, instead sending it outwards. Radio experts found slight changes in the normal background radio waves, hidden under the static from space. When they cleaned up the signal and turned it into sound, it created a slow, eerie sound, a pulse that seemed to speed up and slow down, like breathing. Some believed it was plasma reacting with something. Others guessed it was a message from a smart being. But one thing was sure. The signal repeated each time the comet lined up with the planet's magnetic field. It had happened with Mars, and now it was getting closer to Earth's path. If the pattern continued, our planet would be the next target of that beat, a space heartbeat slowly getting louder. Late one night, in a quiet lab in Pasadena, a young data expert at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory made a discovery that would shock all space scientists. Using James Webb's heat readings, she discovered a secret pattern, a repeating math structure in all the information. The numbers made ratios like prime number patterns. These patterns were the same as those in humanity's first radio messages sent to space, like the Arecibo message. It wasn't by chance. The comet was answering using the same way we showed we were smart. Webb's following look proved the scary truth. The object's light patterns had changed, now lined up exactly with Earth's path around the sun. It wasn't just traveling through the solar system anymore, it was moving itself. The public story stayed calm, blaming tricks of light and plasma. But inside Mission Control, worry grew secretly. If 3 Atlas had even a little change in its path, it meant it wasn't just floating, but reacting. And when it lined up perfectly with Earth, which had been watching it, the world understood something disturbing. Whatever this thing was, it knew we were here. As 3 Atlas kept moving toward the sun, Earth's radio places started hearing a weird mess of signals on different radio waves. At the start, it looked like sun noise, static from the sun's strong radiation. When they looked at the information next to recordings from when the comet passed Mars, they saw the interference was exactly the same. It wasn't just noise, it repeated in a planned, almost on-purpose way. The pattern was like the same 22-second beat, but now it had layers. Different tones were piled on each other like chords in a space song. NASA, ESA, and other space groups worked together to find where it came from, thinking it would lead back to the comet. But the signals came from many spots along its path, as if the space around the comet was sending out signals. Light from stars nearby seemed to curve a little when it went through the area, making small changes, like a lens effect, suggesting some kind of organized energy system. But the real mystery was not what was being sent, but what was being received. Tools on Earth picked up small responses. Our own radio signals bounced back, but not right away. They were delayed by the same amount of time it would take to go to Mars and back. The comet seemed to be playing us back. Our own signals changed and reflected. The echoes bounced back. When put through computer programs, the strange signals made a spooky, shaped design. It wasn't just messy static, but patterns of matching swirls. These spirals were just like the patterns the James Webb Telescope found near 3I Atlas. Each curve and size followed the golden ratio, as if the comet's power was turned into math. Smart scientists in space studied the design and thought it looked like data that could copy itself. It seemed like information coded in light, not computer code or sound. One scientist said it was like a mirror in space, talking through light. Then they understood something scary. The pattern wasn't only sharing new information,